Welcome or welcome back. This is Harrisville Knitting. I'm Jennifer and this is a knitting podcast all about knitting, yarny adventures, and travel. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thrilled that you're here. We are going through a more traditional style knitting podcast with finished objects and whips. This is a hyper focus on gift knits of everything that I will be giving away, haven't given away yet. And of course, leading into the Little Knits KAL to get us inspired to knit for others. Although I don't know what kind of job I'll be doing because I'm going to be sharing about my gift knit drama. Let's go and get in. What I'm wearing is a tried and true sweater for me. This is sweater number 23 by my favorite things Knitwear. Is a stunning drop shoulder sweater that I've worn, I want to say, at least a couple times on the podcast. I do go into detail in the past about it. I love this design. I've knit the sweater twice. It's by my favorite things Knitwear, I think I might have mentioned. And the yarn for this is the Harrisville design Highland wool. Gorgeous. I knit from 2 cones. It used less than 2 cones, and it is a very roomy, boxy sweater. The idea of this is that it's very forgiving, has a lot of ease on the body, but has a more fitted sleeve, so it just gives a beautiful overall look. I love it. I wear it often and I wish I could wear more, but I have so many other lovely sweaters from gorgeous designers in my closet. So in general, this sweater is a trapezoid back that you knit up. You continue knitting the rest of the body. You pick up at the shoulders, you join and knit in the round eventually, pick up the sleeves. It's a delight, a very, I would say, simple knit, and just work up quite quickly with the gauge. It's a lovely design. Highly encourage you to go check it out. So if you are interested, click back into a video. I believe it was in Nova Scotia that I filmed when I last had this sweater on. We are going to get into the finished object that I'm going to share with you. I have been heavily knitting on Little Knits. I will share about the Little Knits KAL perhaps in the beginning, and then I'm going to share about some of my personal knitting drama with my Little Knits KAL progress. So the Little Knits KAL is for knitters to join in if you wish, to hashtag Little Knits KAL, so that we are getting motivated by knitting little things in whatever capacity that might mean for you. There are prizes at the end, of course. Every entry with the hashtag Little Knits KAL on Instagram, be it a post or reel, will allow you to be entered into a randomized draw that's going to be drawn December 31st is the cutoff. You will find out in the very next episode, the very first episode of the 2025 year, who the winners are. There will be 2 winners drawn. One prize is from Labra & Haas. This is a company, a leather goods company from Alberta. It is independently owned and operated by a gorgeous Albertan who makes beautifully handcrafted leather pieces. Go check out her website. I'll link it below. She is offering out very generously the small envelope wallet. It's a stunner. I own a piece of her work and I love it all the time. It's the day off bag that I own, and super thrilled that it's a Canadian owned and operated company. So fantastic, I should say business. Another prize that I have is a $25 gift card from Mariner's Daughter. This is a beautiful yarn shop in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, and they're generously providing the gift card to one of the winners. So if you are interested and you're already knitting on something little, be it an accessory, a knitting item for a smaller person in your life, perhaps a gift knit, could even be a slip over a vest, you decide. Eye of the beholder, eye of the knitter. Join in, hashtag the Little Knits KAL, and you'll be entered in the draw. So good luck. We are heavily knitting on Little Knits. My finished object knit that I'm going to share was a buffer between all of my gift knits. Gift knits have not been bringing me joy. I think it's because pattern choice along with the yarn selection, fabric, fiber, color is not my particular jam. I tried pear pattern and all of the yarny goodness to go with the receiver. which isn't always my preferred aesthetic or feeling. So I do get joy from handing over the gift to the recipient, but in the preparation of it and the making, I don't like it. I'm saying it. So I feel selfishly, this is also why I created the Little Knits KAL, to get me motivated to knit things for the loved ones of my life. And there we are. So I'm gonna share those. But I'm sharing the thing that I did in between because I love knitting for myself. So in between, I needed something for me and something that was really gonna like spark joy. And I also wanted this for a long time, was a black scarf. I ended up selecting the Fear Rib Scarf by Stephen West paper pattern. It is a dip stitch scarf, and it's just a stunner. I feel like I needed and really wanted a black scarf in my lineup of accessories when I'm heading out the door, something I don't have to think about but just looks good. I wanted a really dark crisp black, and this did it. This was a yarn in my stash. This is the Lima Drops Lima. It's a percentage, I think it's a 50-50 split between wool alpaca, if I'm not mistaken. 65% wool, 35 alpaca, and it is, in my opinion, fairly soft. My neck is the sensitive part along with my forehead on my body. Other than that, I'm pretty, I gravitate towards rustic yarn, but this is soft to me. So yeah, I feel the yarn is very, easy to get, affordable, and it definitely did a fabulous job. This I knit up using 2 balls. I had 2 balls in stash, and so didn't have to go and buy anything, which was great. Using up some yarn in stash, which was great, and it brought me joy. So hurrah! I was knitting this on the subway only, so this took, I'm not sure, I want to say a week, maybe it was 2, I'm not sure, on the subway, and really enjoyed the process. The row count of the motif is hideously long. It sounds weird, but this is a 40 row repeat. I have to say, as someone, I think, who I definitely got into the rhythm and understanding how the dip stitches were working, when they were, I could predict when they were going to come up and when they should, along with the increases. So it's kind of Sophie Scar-esque, where you're increasing to a point and then halfway through you start decreasing. It became intuitive and really enjoyable to knit. The mod I did was where I stopped halfway through, because I only had 2 balls, so I was limited with my yarn quantity. So I didn't go to the prescribed row number to follow the pattern for the next component or part for the decreases. I went to row 16, started on row 17 of the decreases, and was totally fine. I think as long as you know how to read stitches and can, kind of make the prediction and understand where the increases and decreases should go, was not an issue at all, and allowed me to knit with 2 balls. I think if I followed the pattern to a T, I would have needed 3 balls, which I wasn't willing to go get, and bought this yarn that long ago. I'm gonna try to put it on me, but I'm afraid it's going to clash with my AirPods that I have on. I have them on because we have cement getting poured all day today, and I'm still filming, so there we are. But super cute scarf, loving it. Paid for pattern. I do have to say the cost of the pattern was quite a bit more than I expected, but I was happy to pay for it. I realized why with the 40 row repeat, and the construction of it is a delight. I didn't share, last thing about this is that it has an I-cord edging, which is always just a really clean finish. Really enjoy Stephen West. I so appreciate his technique videos, and yeah, I was here for it. It's something that I think I'll knit again. Definitely a commute knit for me. And she's gotten wear often because she's a black knit. So yeah, I mean, we're here. I also love, because it is black, it's not in your face crazy like hand knit. I feel like it's very, it makes me feel like I'm put together when I'm wearing this with my wool coats. Yeah, love it. So it's the Fear Rib Hat by Stephen Weston Lima. All right, that is the finished object. I'm going to go on to another. You're like, where are these gift knits? They're coming, I promise you. My next knit is my Soldotna crop. I've talked about this. She is on break, and I will tell you why. It's so funny because I feel like the other one, I knit up one of these already, like last year, 2 years ago, and it took me no time. And this, I keep stalling. So this is a design by Caitlin Hunter, super in love. This came up in my randomized spinner from autumn, and we're still knitting this thing. Here's why. The bottom, I didn't realize, and so typical of me, is that I must have gone rogue on the bottom hemline with ribbing in my last version, whereas this one I was actually reading, and it has you do, it's like a 2x2 color with the main color after your light stitch into your ribbing, and then it has you do a very different ribbing from the neckline. So I follow the pattern, which I appreciate, of the designer, of course. I think, you know, brilliant designs, color work. I've knit a number of sweaters from Caitlin Hunter, but I have to say it's not hitting home for me. First of all, I have some like rolling out here that's happening. That's on me, I suppose, with the like loose gauge of the ribbing and the cast off. I did a bind off in pattern, but I really like this isn't doing it for me with the 2x2. I understand the pattern feature and the choice of it. With this, it's not hitting my heart. I want it to match the 1x1 ribbing from the neckline. So I'm going to be ripping back, and I'm just going to go this like beautiful orangey, rusty orange, without the 2x2 color work and that different ribbing. I'm just going to rip it back till I go to the main color of the brown and go 1x1 ribbing with the orange. Anyway, it'll take me no time. It's been a heavy gift knitting session this year. So that's where we are with the Soldotna crop. This is in Holzgarn Super Soft, with the cream being a Hildesvog Soul yarn. It's lovely. It'll get done eventually. And you know what? Instead of being my fall knit, I think it's gonna be like an early spring knit at this point. So that's the Soldotna crop by Caitlin Hunter. Next up, let's show this. This is one. No, I have to go in order. Oh my gosh, yes, sorry. There's the pile. I am so happy to be done. This is my mother's vest. It is blocked, it is finished. It's done. That's what I have to say about this. She's done. This vest has been on the needles for a hideously long time. I cast this on in spring. I mean, I have my notes. I can show. It's a little embarrassing probably. May 30th. This year. It was a vest picture that my mom had of a fast fashion company that she was interested and asked if I was able to knit it. I couldn't find anything, and I'll put in some B-roll. I couldn't find anything that matched what she was looking for, the gauge, the yarn, it was a whole thing. I ended up going with the Stockholm Vest V-neck by Petite Knit. The gauge was super different. I have a percentage. It was 16% different than the original gauge. So I recalculated the entire pattern so I could get the same look, and I went for it. it wasn't that challenging to modify my memory. I'll tell you where the challenges were, but I will share about the yarn. My mother chose this yarn. It is Duo by Sanus Garn. So it's a mix of merino wool and cotton. Plant-based fiber is not my thing. It didn't, like, the hand feel was fine, I think, because of the content of the merino. It just, and then the color, like, again, this is, I think, I hope she loves it. I've consulted enough through the time from May to, you know, November. So I think she'll really enjoy it, and I really hope get a lot of wear out of it. But like this is not hit home for me at all. It wasn't joyous to make. The most joy, I think, was pushing it down in the water with the suds from the soap-free soap that I use, and knowing that it was done. I know it's okay. Like, I'm being honest. I'm saying it. So this colorway, if this is your jam, because you know maybe it is, and that's fine. It's her jam, my mom's. It's the beige heather 2650. There we go. It's heavy. I held this double as well. She liked the swatch that I did. That was a double, 2 yarns held together. There we go. Yeah. So we'll see. I hope she likes it. The design features that I do enjoy, of course, is that it has that V-neck in the front. I don't think I own a V-neck anything, sweater-wise. And then it has these center double decreases that are happening there. It took me a couple times to get them exactly in the center because I went so off stitch count and pickup and everything. But we got there, and I'm feeling happy with it. One of the most challenging areas to do, which is pretty consistent for me, is the bind off. So here I did it on the neckline, which I feel looks really clean. As knitters, you might not enjoy because it's not a sewn bind off, but I'm really happy with it. And I really like the look of an in pattern bind off, which this is. So it's a knit over purl over knit. And lays really gorgeously flat. Here's where I had heaps of issues, and there were, you know, we won't go into this for 5 hours, but basically I did an in pattern bind off and it flared. This is where I got a lot of flare. You would have seen on my Sew Boat and Crop, there can be flare. So I have to be really mindful and like tighten up. Usually I don't wrap my yarn around any of my fingers to tension. I just allow it to drape over my first finger when I'm knitting. But with my bind offs, I have to tension it and wrap. I did, and it still didn't work, so I ripped it out, which is no big deal because it's in pattern bind off, takes 2 seconds to rip out, and there's no like fuzzy bits, so no problem. And I did a sewn bind off. So I chose to do, because I do not like sewn bind offs, I did the Rook bind off. I'll include a link of it. I found it on Instagram, and this is my go-to sewn bind off. This I'm happy to do. I'm equally happy to do Kitchener. If it's not one of those two, I will not do it. So this is a really simple bind off where you do cut your thread. I think it's like, you know, it's the same typical, you know, 4 times the amount of fabric that you're going to be binding off or stitches, and you put the needle through your first 3 stitches, and you take that, like, I should say, yes, the first stitch off the left needle each time. So you're constantly going through 3 and you're bumping 1 off. It's a really simple bind off. It's one I've talked about before. Creates a really clean finish, and it's pretty simple. It would never be simple to rip out because it's sewn. And for those of you that are the sewn bind offers, you know what I'm talking about. I did in pattern bind off at the bottom as well to mimic, and that is my mother's vest. I'm thrilled to be done. This was supposed to be done for her birthday, but I wanted to conference with her to find out the length that she wanted, and this is it. So she's she's going on the Christmas tree as a combined birthday and Christmas gift. That is the heavily modified, because everything was different, stitch count, pick up stitch count, everything, but followed the Stockholm vest v-neck from Petite Knit. There we go. All right, next up, I will stay on theme with my mom. And look at me ripping off that gift knit sticky there. There we go, feeling good about that. Next is a sweater for my mother's dog. Yes, I have been asked to perhaps one day make a doggy sweater for her puppy, and I hadn't. This was years, I believe I was perhaps that's even in the first year, and we finally did it. She's not totally done, but I'll share about the pattern and then I'll share what's up. So this, I used a pattern that was free, but now is a pay for pattern. It is a pattern by the Traveling Tree Designs, and it's called the Perfect Fit Top Down Dog Sweater. It is a pattern that does not hold your hand at all, in my opinion. It's very much a guide. I wouldn't even say it's a pattern. I would say it's a guide on how to knit a dog sweater. Very cool thing is that this is a highly custom or customizable guide to the dog that will be receiving the sweater. Basically, it is all based on the measurements of the dog that's going to be receiving the sweater. And so I had my mother take measurements, which she did in inches, which, I mean, I question the accuracy of how perhaps these were with her. I hope the measurements are accurate, because of course it's going to dictate the fit. But I used this, and actually the pattern did include inches only, not centimeters. So that's kind of perfect. And I applied the measurements into the pattern to get the stitch counts I needed to do the dog sweater. The dog sweater, another great thing about the pattern, yes, a guide, is that it is for any gauge. So what I did is I used a yarn that I had picked up on sale at the Textile Museum of Toronto last year. This is a cone. It has like no label and is a pretty like skinny, I would say fingering, maybe sport yarn. And I held it double. So I took a bunch off of the cone and I balled up, and then I held the cone and the ball together. It's in this really beautiful like heathered light blue sky-ish colorway. This would be my mom's jam. She loves blue. And I believe, if I had to guess, ironically, I think this is a Harrisville design yarn, and I think it's Shetland. I'm not certain. Again, there's no information. I feel this is what it is. I haven't blocked it yet. I feel once I block it, I'm going to compare the fabric between this exact sweater and this. Yeah, and this was on like super sale at the Textile Museum, because all the funds go to the Textile Museum. With that, I calculated all of the stitches that I needed after I did a gauge swatch. I like that I'm putting my hand through like it's the doggy. So my mom's dog is this little like white Bichon rescue mix puppy, and yeah, so hence the smaller sweater. So what do I want to say about this? I want to say, you know, it is from the mystery yarn I wrote down. I held double. I used 5 needle. I mean, gosh, it's so irrelevant. You're never gonna make this sweater in this exact yarn, because we don't even know what the yarn is. And gauge I was getting was 17 stitches per centimeters, or sorry, I also wrote 4.25 stitches. I don't know why. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, 17 stitches per centimeters. And so I cast on, after following the pattern, 52 stitches on the same needle that I used for the ribbing and the body. It doesn't have you change. And so I did it. I followed that pattern direction. For the measurements, you need the neck measurement of the dog, you need the belly, and or she called it, I think, the rib cage. You also need two funny measurements that I had to call my mom back for, which was the distance between the legs, the front legs of the puppy, and the length circumference, so around the leg. Anyway, so we followed pattern, we cast on, we did twisted rib. I wanted to do a twisted because, again, I have loose ribbing, and I find twisted allows it to be a little more tighter and cleaner for me. And then just did my increases. You increase here at the chest and, or rib cage, I guess. I don't know what it was. Yeah, it's their chest. It's like the puppy chest. And yeah, and then I feel like now that's a paper pattern, I'll be careful, but you basically make the little holes for the legs that would be there. And yes, and then you prepare your ribbing. I did a bind off and pattern, of course, a knit over knit over purl, purl over knit. And yeah, the only thing I have left to do is the ribbing for the little sleeves. That'll be the puppy sleeves. I really hope it fits. I haven't blocked it yet, as you have heard. So I hope it works. And yeah, that's a second gift for, well, my mom and her puppy. There we are. I think I don't have anything left to say about it. It was fine. This was like an evening knit for me. I knit this within the evenings of like a week and a bit, I think. And I think it could have taken me much shorter, but I just wasn't motivated. So there we are. So that is the Perfect Fit top-down dog sweater by Traveling Tree Designs in a mystery yarn. There we go. We are going to another gift knit. We're doing it. I have to be careful. Someone else is hiding in the other room and hoping that they have sounds going on in their ears, as I always ask them to do as I'm podcasting, because I'm like, don't listen to me, please don't listen to me. And so now there's a very good reason. We have casted on a sock. This is my second one this year. The first I knit were for myself with a slip stitch that I did. I think I wore them twice before I realized that I didn't stitch up some holes, and that's it. I do not enjoy knitting, so I feel like this is like out of the podcast. I always feel like I'm like so excited to share, and this podcast is like not exciting in that way. So I hope you enjoy at least the colors and my appreciation for knitting all things. So this is very much trying to spark the joy in sock knitting, which I do not enjoy. They are for someone. So I did, this is off of a free pattern. It's the DK Vanilla Sock by Crazy Sock Lady, Kim Litton, which I've used for my socks, period, pretty much. I did a twisted rib. I did some funny stuff where I'm like, I have not found my sock mojo. I do not have any sock jam. So I did a cast on these really tiny, do I even have them here? Like really ridiculously tiny needles. Cause I mean, I tried everything to try to like enjoy this process. So these are like, I don't know what they're called. Well, they're just red circulars, but they're 23 centimeters or 9 inches round. So I used these to cast on 2 strands of fingering. These are all different fingering balls. And I did ribbing on this. It was very unpleasant. It was so not good. It was so not pleasant. Doing this on the subway, I think I was making a lot of faces at the time. People were probably looking at me, not only like, ooh, she's knitting, but like, ooh, she's making like some funny faces. It was giving me thumb pain because I was like holding the stitches on with my thumb on the metal needle. It's just garbage, like not my favorite. Then I switched to long circulars and did magic loop. It's my preferred if I have to choose. So this is what we're doing. This is a 2.5, which is a, gosh, what is this thing? It's like 3 millimeter. And this is like two strands of fingering. So for all your people that can actually knit with fingering on anything, like, I don't know how you do it because this, I find, this is a tiny needle. Like, I don't want to get any tinier than this guy. And this is already like 2 strands. This is supposed to be a DK weight sock. There we are. We have a variety. It's like mostly jowl sock yarn, which is a mix, of course, of wool and a synthetic. I think it's a nylon in there. I don't have any of the ball bands. And yeah, I've just balled everything up into 2 to hold double. And we're just going. We're doing, I think I did 12 stitches to get these like chunkier bands. I actually really am enjoying the look of it. I know that the recipient is going to adore them, and that's really great for my knitting heart. As for preparing this, I also, because I do not enjoy doing this, I left it until this week, and so I cast it on like Monday morning. That's not true. Like Friday on the subway. And so for each, how's it working? I think each commute almost, I'm getting a stripe done, pretty much, or the heel, like the slip stitch heel. Yeah. Anyways, will I finish both in time? I don't know. I put out like a little Instagram poll. Like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I would like to think perhaps, but we're already late on in the week and I don't have much more time left, and this isn't even the first one done. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and okay, FYI, and I don't know if it's from changing over my colors, I always get this massive hole that happens right here, which is why the only other pair that I knit this year for myself with the slip stitches I stopped wearing because I had this massive hole. I mean, I'm gonna stitch it up, but like, what's up with that? Like, what do you do? It's, I don't know. There's so many things. There's so many things that I am not the expert at, example socks, where I want to be better. I just don't want to practice this. I want to knit the sweaters and all the fun little things. And this to me, we're not there. But you know, the end, I will be thrilled that it's going to be done. And these colors, like, hurrah, like we're winning on that. All right, so that's the sock for the love of my life. But don't tell him. All right, we're gonna go back and hide these later, as they've been hiding in the backpack. Right, if you see me on the subway, you know what I'm gonna be knitting for the next week and a bit. What did I not share? I mean, okay, I'm saying this so I do it. My next and last gift knit that I'm going to be doing is a version of Favorite Fingerless Mittens with Plutelope. This is just, I fluffed this because it's just a quick and dirty little knit for me. This is with a colleague of mine that I work very closely with, and she does them with a lot of natural fabric fibers, I'm gonna say, but I feel like I can do a fingerless mitt that she will get wear out of, and maybe not right now because we're like very chilly here in the city, but eventually when it starts to warm up a bit, she will be good to go, or she can wear these over her leather gloves that she already wears. This is a design by myself, really simple design. These have been coming up. Nora from AK Nora Knits has done a number of them, and I just feel so gorgeously happy that she has knit the fingerless mittens. She shared about them. My little heart is stunned. Side note, I also have had Kristen Lair from Wool & Vine that has knit the Bellwoods hat. I cannot share with you how thrilled I am that people are knitting on the patterns that I've created. These people, I enjoy, I adore. I mean, I have followed Wool & Vine since the beginning of my knitting life, and I have no words. I feel incredibly happy and my heart is full. So hurrah, yay, yay. So yes, I'm going to be knitting this exact pair. This is Eliphas, but same idea, where I'm going to be holding 2 strands held double of the Plutelope by Istax to create fingerless mitts. I'm saying it here so that I do it and I can, I mean, she'll get banged out. I can do it this weekend, no problem. I know I can knit a number of them this weekend, but I have all the other little gift knits to, you know, sneakily work on. And there we are. If I say it on here, I'm gonna do it, so that'll be good. And I'm considering, you know, how fast I can do these. I might knit it a couple other colleagues some, but don't tell them that. So that's the favorite Fingerless Knits by me, Harrisville Knitting. Link will be below, so you can go check it out. Cool. I will share my last little bit of an acquisition that I have that I was going to knit for the holidays for me, but then it got sidetracked with all the knitting because, not surprisingly, knitting takes time, and when we're knitting for others, that takes up the time that we're knitting for us. So I purchased this the last time I was at Knitting Loft, doing just a little like sit, chat, and knit. This is a very sparkly, silly, holiday-esque yarn. It is the, I will tell you, Lanagatto Skintilla. And it is just a silly, fun yarn. It's pretty synthetic. It is viscose or viscosa, 24% polyester. What are you looking at? 21% polymade. So it's synthetic-y, but I mean, it's silly. It's holiday. The viscose, like, is that not from bamboo pulp? I don't know. And the idea is that I was going to pair this with just a really simple black merino from Sandusgarn Sunday. So I was going to do one strand probably with this to make a little hat. And that's it. We chatted at the Knitting Loft, of course, about some options. I have swatched. I don't think I wrote down my swatch because I probably did it on the subway and didn't have my knitting book journal with me then. But the idea is that I'm going to do like a merino brim that'll be folded up and tucked in and then sewn down with just the merino. So I'll do 2 strands held double. And then once I get past the brim on the exterior of the hat, I'm going to pair the fun, sparkly, silly yarn. I did test it out on my forehead to see if it was like prickly or itchy, and it's surprisingly not. I know you're not gonna believe me, but it's not. But I still don't want to run the risk of like why would I put this next to my forehead? Like, it doesn't make sense, it's synthetic. So I'm just gonna go the woolly bit and then on the outside, the silly bit. There's quite a good chunk of yardage in here, or meterage, I'll say.